This is me this morning. I was not feeling well at all, and we were on our way home from San Diego. When you wake up in the morning, your hands feel so stiff. You wipe away your eyes. There are days that you just don't want to get out of bed. Your hands feel stiff and your joints hurt. Your feet are in such pain and they're on fire. You attempt to make your first move. You hesitate for a moment, thinking, what is it going to feel like? But you do your best to get out of bed and start your day over. And you wonder, why does it have to be this way? You recheck yourself. Are my feet going to work this morning? Is it going to feel like I'm stepping on rocks? Are my ankles in pain? And then you stand and you realize it's in your back. My story begins now. Good morning. It's our last day on vacation here in San Diego Mission Beach, and so waking up with rheumatoid arthritis basically is like being very stiff and not knowing what part of your body is going to hurt next is an everyday thing. So for me, it was my feet last night were really hurting badly when I went to bed. It woke me up about 3:30 or so in the morning, and they felt very hot. They were throbbing, and this morning they still hurt, not as bad. It does hurt to make your footsteps, and the hands get very stiff, the knuckles hurt. My medicine that I'm on, xeljanz, seems to maybe not working right now. I've been on it for, I think, maybe between 4 to 6 months. I switched from Humira because I was tired of the injections. They were very painful, and I just have a phobia of needles, so I have a hard time accepting the injection. My husband would have to give it to me once a week, and I hated it every time. And every time that needle was injected and the medicine was dispersed, the medicine felt like it was on fire, basically. Sometimes it felt like it was glass cutting. But I've been like this, diagnosed since April 10th, 2010. I'll tell you the story behind that a little bit later. But I'm here in San Diego with this beautiful scenic view in our condo. It is so pretty out there. So my struggles are right now is that I'm trying different things with my xeljanz, which is taking 800 milligrams of ibuprofen when I need it. I also picked up some CBD cream. Somebody recommended using that. Now, I've only tried it on this weekend of my trip a few times. Yesterday was one. I placed it on my feet. I don't know if I really got anything out of it at the time. Maybe I need to use it a little bit more. But walking was really tough. We went to the mall yesterday, and when we got done walking around for 2 hours, I was in so much pain. It just feels like I'm walking on rocks, and just the pain in the feet is just horrible in the joints. It's just like a non-constant pain, dual pain, but it's there, and you tolerate it because you have to. But it seems like it's starting to get a little worse, and I haven't had pain in, I would have to say, maybe 5 years after I started my different medicines, because I was allergic to most, and now the medicine, it may not be working for me, so I may have to take something else, and I'm hoping I don't have to do any other injections. My worries with being on medication is the side effects. The part of affecting your organs, and could be diagnosed with cancer at one point. But that's with most medicines. But it's scary, because I don't know. I just I hate taking medicine, and I'm limited to what I can take because of my allergies. My doctor is recommending an injection, a one-time injection that lasts for, I think they said 6 weeks, but it will calm the inflammation down. I've been putting it off because the side effects are vomiting, dizzy, migraine headaches, and weight gain. And I've already gained weight being on enbrel and Humira, and I don't know if xeljanz does anything, but I'm struggling at age 53 now, and I just had my birthday this weekend. Woohoo! Anyways, I'm struggling with it all, basically. Now, living with rheumatoid arthritis, I don't let it stop me from doing things. I'm an artist. I like to play in the kitchen. I like to bake. I like to do a lot of creative stuff. I'm a sculptor, so I like to play in clay. That's very comforting and soothing for me, building sculptures, and it gets my mind off of things. I do still go to the gym. I do the best that I can when I'm at the gym. I try not to give up. I like to garden, but I don't do as much gardening anymore. And ever since we moved to a smaller lot. Bigger home, but smaller lot. So our lot's not very big, so there's not very much to do, and the soil's pretty hard for me to dig through. So it just takes the interest out of gardening. But I still like it. I like to bike ride. We did a lot of that here in San Diego on our vacation, but I paid for it afterwards. My feet and my knees and my hips killing me. So I took some ibuprofen. It helped take that little bit of edge pain away. So also having rheumatoid arthritis, I also have fibromyalgia. So it's like a double whammy for me. Two different types of pain. The nerve pain from fibromyalgia and the muscle. It feels like a burning sensation throughout your skin, underneath your skin, with the fibromyalgia. And it attacks your feet, your arms, your legs, your neck, your shoulders, your back. And I could have both at the same time. And it sucks when it happens at the same time. And like I said, I haven't had any pain for several years up until now, 2019, and it's been a month and a week. So I think I started the pain in February of 2019, and here we are, March 22nd, and the pain keeps getting worse. So I know that my medicine is failing on me right now, the xeljanz. And I'm hoping that maybe that I can continue to take it, but maybe take something else along with it. I don't like taking a lot of medicines. I really don't. So I don't take anything for my fibromyalgia because the medicines are pretty harsh, and I just don't like it, basically. I also belong to a support group on Facebook for both my fibromyalgia and rheumatoid arthritis. I go there when I'm desperate and I need some answers, because mostly people are sharing their experience and their pain and what they do for their pain. And I can get a lot of information just by going there and trying new things that they have to offer. Sometimes it's sad because there are people that are in such serious pain, and you feel for them because you know what you're going through, and your pain may not be as much as theirs, and some people don't have insurance, and I do. I'm thankful that my husband has a job that covers my insurance. The medicine I take, xeljanz, if it wasn't covered, would be $3,500 for that bottle of 30 pills. That's a lot of money. And when I did my injections, I believe the injectors were, you get two for Humira, and it was about close to $2,700 or a little bit more. But my insurance covered it, so I only had to pay $20 out of pocket. And I was very thankful that that was the case. Let me share with you how and when I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. I had two sick parents, and my mom was recently diagnosed with dementia, and at that time my father was at a state, and he was a diabetic who wasn't following his diet properly, and I received a call one day that he had a stroke. So being the youngest out of 5, I was the one that had to go take care of him, and on top of that I also took care of my mom. But I knew that I had to leave to deal with my father, so I hopped on a plane for the first time by myself. I never travel alone, and it was scary. But when I got there, I took him to all his appointments, got everything in order, and we did he looked great, and we did some walking, sightseeing in San Juan. We spent some time together, which I cherish very much, because it was basically our last time together. And when it came down to leaving to come back to California, and he was staying, I was so stressed out and worried about his health, and it put a lot on me. And I begged him to come with me at the time, and he just refused to come. He didn't want to come, and he lives in California, but he also stayed and visited Puerto Rico, which was his homeland, and he preferred being there more. So coming back home was a challenge without him. So when the day came, I had to head to the airport, and he came with us, and it was like maybe 10 minutes before I had to leave into the area where no one can go. You know, he broke down and I broke down, and I begged him to come with me, and he refused to come. And I told him he needed to come home to see his doctors and get checked out, and that he would be all alone over there. But he didn't come. So I got on the plane, and it's a little over 13-hour flight with a stop at Atlanta, I think, is where I stopped. And he ended up staying back, and during the flight, I started feeling kind of strange. I was thirsty, so I reached over for my bottled water, and I couldn't open it. I struggled to get the bottle cap open, and I asked the person behind me if they could open it for me. And then later on, I started to feel hungry, so I wanted to get something to snack on. So I tried to go up and grab my bag from above, and I struggled with that too. And so when I grabbed my bag, I ended up grabbing a Snickers bar that I had, and I tried to open the wrap, and I couldn't do it. I struggled. It hurt so bad, and I was in a lot of pain, and I hurt in my shoulders really badly, like they were being cut off, like somebody took a saw and just started sawing my arms off, and just moving them was so painful. I was like, what's wrong with me? I couldn't figure out what was wrong. And so I sat there, and thank God nobody was sitting next to me. I had the seat next to me as well, so I had two seats, so I was able to move around. But the more I sat, the worse it got, and I became stiffer and in more pain, and it just started throbbing, and it was going into my neck, and then I noticed it in my feet, and all this was happening all at once while I was up in the air in the plane. So we were about to land in Atlanta and transfer onto another plane, and I was, at that point, I started to cry because it was painful, and I had to lug my luggage, and I couldn't grip it. I couldn't hold on to it without my fingers that were stuck in a knuckle position. It was like this. I couldn't move my hands. I could move my hands, but I couldn't move my fingers or grip them. And so just to hold my luggage was horrible. And I was feeling the pain when I was walking, and I noticed that I was walking pretty stiff. So I had to get to the other side of the airport, and the next terminal was not next to where I was at. It was clear across, way down yonder, probably about a 25-minute walk, and there was no way that I was going to get from point A to point B and be able to make my plane. So I started strolling my luggage towards the area I needed to go, and it got worse, and I was crying. And I seen this family in their little go-kart inside the facility, and I waved them down and I asked them, I was pretty much begging, asking them for a ride because I couldn't walk and I couldn't hold my luggage in my hand, roll it. I was rolling it, but it still hurt. And so just to move was horrible. So I ended up getting a ride from them, and I barely made it to the other end to catch my flight. I was very thankful this family helped me out that day because I don't know what I would have done. I would have had to deal with getting another flight, which I've never done before, and also not being in pain and being in pain. But I remember when I got to the Atlantic airport, and during that whole process, I made a phone call to my husband explaining to him that I was in a lot of pain. But it was very quick. So anyways, I got on to the next flight, and it was about another 4.5 hours to get to San Francisco, and where my family was going to be. When I got back from Puerto Rico and landed in San Francisco and met up with my family, they were so excited to see me, but I was miserable. I couldn't bear the pain and just the feeling that I was going through was horrible, and I was just crying and telling them that I needed to go to the doctor, and found out that day that we were going to have to take Bart home, which was another 1.5 hour commute. So I dealt with the pain, and we got to our hometown, got off the BART train, and we got in the car, and I just could not move my body. I could not get comfortable. I could not just move, period. It hurt to move or to even touch my body. It was so painful. So I ended up heading to the emergency room because I couldn't tolerate it, where they gave me morphine and did some tests on me, and that's when I found out a few days later that I had an autoimmune disease, which was rheumatoid arthritis. And that's where it all began. And my husband's up, so I'm going to take a break, and I'll be back and share some more stories with you as soon as I can. Okay, living with rheumatoid arthritis, I also decided to change my diet. I tried the gluten-free for a little bit, but I didn't really care for it. So I am now on the keto diet. I wanted to see if it would help with the weight. I gained about 35 pounds in just from being on so many medicines. I was in a car accident over a year and probably a year and a few months, and I actually, you know what? It's gonna be 2 years, because the anniversary of the car accident was March 20th, which was just 2 days ago. So yeah, it's been 2 years, and they put me on several medications because it affected me really badly, and it caused me to have some PTSD and some serious paranoia, and even some schizophrenia, and they had to put me on this medication that was supposed to help control the schizophrenia, because it was rare in my case at my age, being 51, that it affected me really badly. That's another story I'll have to share, but I think that keto is helping me right now. I'm gonna stick with it because I think that it's probably the best thing for me, since it's a low carb, high fat, no sugar diet, sugar substitutes, but it is a challenge to be on the keto diet, and when your family isn't on keto, because you're fixing like 3 different meals. My husband eats totally different. He's a basic bodybuilder who likes to eat his brown rice, chicken, and maybe a side of vegetables. But most of the time it's just brown rice and chicken. And then we have the kids that are very picky, and they don't like to eat anything. So I'm always fixing a meal for them that they would enjoy, and then I have to fix my keto meals, which consist of no carbs and high fats. So it's a struggle, but I manage. Okay, I'm back. I wanted to talk about family and rheumatoid arthritis, because a lot of people don't understand what this autoimmune disease is like. They don't see it on the outside, and they don't know what we go through. They don't know what we feel. They don't know how miserable it is to be stuck in this body with so much pain. And when my family was told about this, my husband tried to get educated as much as he could by researching the internet and finding out more about this disease. And my kids at the time, I believe they were like maybe 7 and 8, and they were angels. They understood what I was going through. They helped me get dressed. They helped me brush my hair. They helped me do so much, because my hands, my feet did not work. It was so painful to get dressed. And every morning when we had to get them ready for school, the girls would come and help me get dressed, and we would then have to walk the street, which was a few minute walk to the school. And I remember walking, and I had each one on each side, and I would use them as my crutches, holding on to them, and using them as a guide to get to point B from point A. And it was a struggle. I barely moved, and it was sad. And it was sad for them that they had to see their mother go through this. So I feel that I was very lucky to have such wonderful kids to help me get through those moments. And they do understand me now, so they know when I'm in a lot of pain. They know that it's uncomfortable. So they understand, they get it. And they're about 15 and 16 right now, and I have a 27-year-old who gets it. Sometimes it's really hard for my husband to understand that the pain is back and what I'm going through, but he gets it too. So family members, it's very important that you get educated on the autoimmune disease, because the more you know, the better it is for your partner, your mother, your parent, your child, whoever it is that's suffering from this autoimmune disease. Get educated. Find out more about it. Find out how you could help, how you can make it easier for them to get through that day, each day. And maybe every now and then ask them, how are they doing? You know, how are they feeling? Can I do something for you? You know, because a lot of the times, people just can't deal with that type of person. And it shows, and the person that's sick, they notice it. They could feel it. And it's sad, because it makes us feel very sad and uncomfortable and lost, and sometimes feel like we have nobody to turn to. And that's why the support groups are the best thing for them. Finding a support group that you belong to, that you can understand and feel comfortable in, is the way to go. And being able to share it with those people that are experiencing the same thing. Because friends and family members sometimes just don't get it, and they don't want to get it. They don't see it, they don't feel it, so they just don't want to deal with it. So my advice to you, if you are recently diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, is do your research and try to talk to your family and let them know how you feel, and share with them what the pain is like, so they understand what it is that is happening to you. And find the perfect support group. There are many support groups probably in your area, but the best ones are probably on Facebook. You get to meet friends, and you get to hear their stories, and you get to find out new stuff on how to deal with your everyday pain. So those are great places to start. And one important thing is, you need to make sure that you do your lab work. Request lab work from your doctors, especially when taking the medicines, because they're very harsh to our bodies and toxic, and so they could affect our liver, our lungs, you know, kidneys. And it's important that you follow up and do it between 1 month or 2 months, and follow up with your doctor. And next, you want to change your diet. Maybe cut out the sugars out of your diet, because we all know that sugar's not good for us, and it can cause inflammation. Even chicken and beef cause inflammation, and celery. Look up on Pinterest or Google search bad foods for autoimmune diseases, and stay away from those foods. And the more you stay away, the better it is for you in the long run. And if you're a person that likes to eat sweets, there are options. You can try, keto desserts or low-carb desserts, desserts that have sweeteners in it, good sweeteners like monk fruit, Truvia, Splenda, sweeteners like that. Now, I had severe rheumatoid arthritis, so in the beginning, because I was unable to walk and move around as much as I wanted to, I was able to get a handicap plate, a temporary handicap plate, which helped a lot because it I was able to get closer parking when I needed it. But once I didn't need it anymore, I discontinued using it. But there are people that have it permanently, and I'm not one of those. I do intend to try to do my everyday things without letting this autoimmune disease get in the way. So in order to get a handicap plate, you have to go through your doctor, and he has to see that you really need to have one, and he will give you the forms and fill them out, and then you will take that to DMB, and then they will then prescribe the handicap plate for you. So I just talked to my husband, and I wanted to ask him how what it is that he felt about the illness. What was he thinking? And he said that for him it was very hard to understand because he could not see the illness. He could not understand it because he didn't see why I was having such pain. It's not like I had a broken leg or a broken arm where he could see that it happened and that it would be painful being and going through. Okay, that concludes our video for today, and I hope that I have helped you in any way possible, and hoping that you take your steps every day, one day at a time, and things get better for you. And try to remember to subscribe if you want to watch more of my videos. I will try to keep you up to date. Please share your stories with me. I would love to hear how you're doing and what you do to get through your day. For your everyday life, just remember to breathe. Take the time to breathe. Thank you for stopping by, and have a wonderful day.